From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big evening of evenings at LALATE with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022, live and direct from Santa Monica, California, and in breaking news tonight. We'll be going over the latest details of what is happening in your big wallets of money. We'll be going over the fourth stimulus recon that will be front and center during the President's State of the Union address in just a few days. And we'll be looking at the opportunity to insert a MSC check in there as well. Automatic adult stimulus checks. Then we'll be looking back at what's faster on the horizon. CR for Stimulus 1.0, just a few days away. A congressional budget bill that has in there $1.5 trillion of discretionary spending, which would include room for a $2,000 stimulus check. And the great news tonight across the land. We'll be looking at CR for Stimulus 2 and 3.0, the economic pieces of legislation that bipartisan support is rallying behind as well. Millions of Americans ravaged by inflation in the United States need this relief. And the relief is coming also at the pump. Brand new details tonight as the president gets major leaders across the globe to release more oil that brings the price of the pinch at the pump down. I have the great news tonight. But SS 300 is the next horizon right around the corner. Days away, the president can get this big money to you less than 30 days out. $300 more per month. I'll have the latest details you're only hearing on this recording. Then we'll be turning back into the incredible checks that you can get today. Viewers are getting $10, $20, $30, $40,000 this week. Have you gotten the money? Stay to the very end. It's third stimulus. That's what I do better than anything else. Get you money on this channel. What are you watching? You're watching the evening edition of Evenings LA, America's #3 most watched financial news channel in America, with the latest details about what's happening with the FOMC meeting in just a few days, inflationary rates, your pinch of the pump, and also your big checks. But stay to the very end because you have a commentary you've never heard before from me. It's about Ukraine and Russia and what we're not doing for people of the world. It's coming up later in this recording. Boy, we have a big night with a lot of breaking news with those big checks that Joseph Biden is ready to send to you. We have all the incredible details, and they start right now as Evenings LA gets underway. Hey, good evening, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful evening across the globe. Boy, what a night it is, because there is so many developing details that you need to know. I'm going to go into each of them starting right now. Boy, what a night it is here in Southern California. You're watching the beautiful shores of Santa Monica, California, where it's warmer tonight. Hope the weather is good where you are. Part of our evening schedule programming continue tonight with Countdown, Stream Stimulus, and then Extra thereafter. It's a big night because guess what? The president is going to address the American people in the State of the Union address in just a few days from now, addressing the passage of the Build Back Better Act. It's going to pass. That has upwards of $60,000 of checks. It's part of his economic agenda that'll frontline that major address before the Congress in just a few days. But even before there's opportunity to get checks, and that is CR for stimulus, inserting a check into discretionary funds of $1.5 trillion that has at least the opportunity to get you a $2,000 check. All the latest details tonight in this recording. But we're going to start first, of course, with Build Back Better Act and look at those incredible checks that Joseph Biden's going to address in the American people. It's going to happen. And then we're going to go into CR for stimulus. Then we're going to go into SS 300. And then we're going to cut back into the breaking, developing details that impacts your wallet with what's happening on the ground in Ukraine and Russia tonight. And you're going to see a commentary you never heard from me before, folks. I'm not holding back. And later in this video, I'm going to show you how to get big sums of money. But first, I want you part of this incredible family. What are you watching? You're watching LALATE, the #3 most watched financial news channel in America, heading to #2. And I want you part of this incredible family, so subscribe. Like the video and consider becoming a member. Let's go right into the Build Back Better Act that has at least $15,000 of checks in there, with the opportunity to grow it to at least $60,000 across the land. There are 3 clusters and 3 add-ons of checks that pay you a lot of money Whether you are single, elderly, young, old, SSI, SSDI, children without children, 3 clusters, 3 add-ons. Let's look at them right now. Cluster number 1 got in there, hazard pay, 1 more year. For my essential workers, $4,000 of elder care got in there as well. $4,000 of care for young children. The Pell Grant, college students, $550 checks, got that in there as well. Home repairs, if you live in a low-income community, got it in there. And then the $12,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle. Lots of incredible checks, and that's just the first of 3 clusters of checks. There is also, in this Build Back Better Act, 3 add-ons of checks. And the first add-on is one that makes viewers very excited. At least $25,000 in there for the purchase of your first home. It comes from here in Southern California, from Maxine Waters. Our legislator here out of Southern California, you look at the beautiful beaches of Santa Monica, California right now in that footage, got this provision in there that would give you money for the purchase of your first home. At the time of escrow, it would be given to the seller in your name from the federal government. Yes, they got it in there. Now, that is the first of 3 add-ons of checks. Now, let's go into the second cluster of checks. Home repairs and paid leave. Paid leave is a lot of money. This is if you have to take off from work due to sickness or illness. How much? A fortune. It is $1,700 a week approximately if you make $70,000 or more per year. $35,000 annual salary, that would be $800 a week. $15,000 annual salary, that would be $400 a week. 4 to 6 weeks per year. So yeah, that is at least about $5,000 to $6,000. You get a 1099 W-2. You all qualify. Now, if you don't work, but your son or daughter does work, they're going to get the check across the board as well. And there you go. Very exciting. Now, the second add-on of checks got in there as a Joe Biden campaign promise, and Bob Casey got it in there. And what is it? It is $250 billion of free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. Can you imagine? If you get sick and you're senior or person on disabilities, it's not covered at the moment. Well, they got it in there. Thank goodness. Now let's turn to that third cluster where we find true deliciousness. This is the third cluster checks in the Build Back Better Act, the fourth stimulus recon, which the president will get passed and is going to address in the State of the Union in just a few days. We got in there the free internet for all checks, farmers checks, independent contractors checks, free school meals for all checks, and then the seniors. The seniors getting lots of checks. First, on the House side, they got the Medicaid gap fix, providing a workaround plan that provide you insurance in those 12 Republican holdout states, and they got the hearing checks. Thank goodness for those checks. But on the Senate side, more checks, dental, vision, and lowering the eligibility age of Medicare, which is par for the course of when we're talking about the third add-on of checks. If you're in the live chat right now, I think you know what it is. Write those 3 letters right now. I bet you remember what they are. And those 3 letters are MSC. Yes, the legislators represent, the senators represent, they're adding in MSC to the fourth stimulus recon. That would add you additional checks on top of the existing checks that pay about $15,000 to $60,000. What are MSCs? How do they work? And what do you need to know about it? MSC stands for Monthly IRS Stimulus Check. And the check would come out from IRS on a monthly basis to you, and you would get it the same way you got a third stimulus check. The only difference is it's a little bit more money. And let's go over the eligibility of that money right now. Legislators represent that the eligibility would be the same as a third stimulus check. Who got that third? Who gets a fourth? Forgot? Let's recap it. Single individuals, $75,000 less, get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, get it. Double it. Family of 4, get it as well. Quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, you would get as well. It is not income. It is not taxable. It comes out on a nationwide basis. So if you say it's only for California, no, in California, we get a surfboard instead. And there you go. It goes off the most recent tax return, direct deposit. If it was listed, that's how you get paid. And everyone gets it across the board. The eligibility now solved. What about the payout? $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter for up to 6 months. It is incredible. Now, the legislators haven't gotten it in there, the Build Back Better Act, because it hasn't been set to a Senate vote. People have asked me, what day is that vote? $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter for these MSCs. Well, that vote would be teed up as soon as it goes to a Senate subcommittee, modifies the legislation, and then goes to a Senate vote and a vote-a-rama. And away we rock and roll. But the issue at hand is, what can get us a check sooner? And you know what that answer is. The item that gets you a check sooner is using something else in addition to it. MSC is a body of legislation that would be added to the Build Back Better Act, but can we get a check out sooner with something else? We can. And it's called CR for stimulus. If you're new to this channel, I've been able to really come up with a lot of innovations that solve people's financial needs, whether it's finding money for you that you didn't know existed, or getting bodies of legislation passed that Congress didn't think they could do. And this is what CR for stimulus was in 2020. In 2020, you had seen a first stimulus check lie in your hand. You used it up. You needed more money. And then you heard about a second stimulus package for months, 11 months, and nothing happened. Negotiations between Steve Mnuchin, then Treasury Secretary, and Nancy Pelosi at the time went on for 11 months. Did you see a check? You did. So I said, can't do this any longer. I need a solution. I look for something that's bipartisan support, inherent small bill with inherent deadline, can get done quickly. And I found it. Continuing resolution. What is a continuing resolution? It's a very common bill. It's done every 3 to 6 months. Funds the federal government, runs the national parks, runs the federal buildings. Bipartisan support, inherent deadline, small, easy, breezy, insert a check. I knew the criticism I was going to get doesn't belong in there. I didn't care about the criticism. I don't record based upon criticism. I record upon what I think is going to work, and I pushed, and you and I made history. CR for stimulus happened. The continuing resolution in December 2020, I advocated for the insertion of a stimulus check in there. People thought I was crazy. You, the Purple Power community, this family, push and advocate for it, and together we made history. A $600 stimulus check went out to the American people because of my recordings on this channel, and because you advocated as part of this Purple Power community to get it in there, despite the criticism across the land. Well, 5 weeks ago, on a Saturday morning, I said, do you want to do it again? People knew exactly what I was going to say before I even said what the it was. They said, CR for stimulus? They were in the live chat. They said, CR for stimulus? I said, yeah, that's the it. Do you want to do it? Yes, of course I want to do it. And here it is, back on, baby. The continuing resolution right now is set for early March. It gets better. Inherent deadline is set, and there's dedicated funds of $1.5 trillion in there across the land. Let's be frank, folks. $1.5 trillion is enough for a stimulus check of $2,000. Good. Any problems? Do we have support? We do. We have bipartisan support, Republicans and Democrats. Months of negotiations, House and Senate. Bob, the support and the resilience not to have the money affected has been excellent. So everything is lined up. And then last week we saw potentially some forces trying to take our money. Didn't happen. And the Vermont Democratic Senator kept them at bay. So all lined up really well. What's at issue? Getting a $2,000 stimulus check in there is all lined up. So will it go in there? I'll have the latest details after the commercial break. Then we go into SS 300. Here's Joe Biden. In December 2020, he had won the general election, said you're going to get $200 a month right away on top of your existing benefits if you're on SSI and SSDI because it's an urgent situation, desperate situation. Well, now it's 12% inflation, 2 years later in some states, and 8% across the country. I'm not having this either. So guess what? 3 weeks ago, I created the concept of SS 200. And 1 week ago, I created the concept of SS 300. And now you've been advocating for this as well. And Joe Biden just needs to make a phone call. And you would see your benefits go up $300 a month by the end of this year, $200 30 days out. Joe Biden needs to do it. And I'm going to go over how he can do it in the second half of this video. I have breaking news about where the inflation number is tonight. And guess what? We move when money is available. You want to move right now and get this SS 300 done now before inflation goes down. Because once your benefits go up, you don't want them. You want to get the benefit to kick in. I have breaking news about where the inflation number is tonight. It's huge. It's great news as well. Joe Biden has done some great stuff in the last 3 days, and they involve your price of gasoline at the pump. I have breaking news about that tonight of where that Brent crude number is landing and why it will even out over the next few days if everything lines up as planned. But you know what I do? I give people money. And in the second half of this video, I'm going to get you thousands of dollars. Thousands of dollars today. Not 5 months from now, not 5 weeks from now, not 5 years from now, right today. And I'll show you the success stories of viewers who listened in the last few days and have cashed checks, upwards of $40,000 of checks this week. We have a lot of breaking news coming up in the second half, and a lot of money will be turning back into Build Back Better Act and those checks in there as well, so you know them. And then in the final minutes of this video, you're going to see a commentary like you've never seen before. So stay to the very end. It's a big night, and boy, I am not holding back in the second half of this video. Stay with me as this big broadcast of Evenings LA heats up from the shores of Santa Monica. We're far from over, and I have a lot of money to get you and a lot of money to show you that's coming your way. It's coming up in just 60 seconds. But first, my friends, here's a little bit about the community page. Be back with you shortly. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now from the shores of Santa Monica, California, as Evenings LALATE breaking news continues this evening. We have a big night. In the second half of this video, we'll be going over more of the checks that could be coming your way with CR for Stimulus 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and 4.0. SS300 that could raise your benefits up $300 a month, and those MSCs included in the existing checks of the Build Back Better Act that has a lot of money across the land. I have all those incredible details coming up in this video, plus how to get you thousands of dollars. Do you want money? Today, you do. It's coming up later in this video. And then you see a commentary you've never seen come out of my mouth before on this channel. Stay to the final minutes. You are never going to see anything like it, perhaps again. It's all tonight, and it's a big Evenings LALATE, as Evenings LALATE, Evenings Countdown at 6, Evenings Extra at 8, and Home Stream Stimulus, the I Stand With special broadcast coming up at 7 across the land. But first, I want you, part of this incredible family, go under this video right now and subscribe. You're watching the #3 most watched financial news channel in America. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. I stand here for grain, and you're going to see my commentary on the situation coming up later in tonight's video. Let's go right into the first way to get money in your wallet after third stimulus, because third stimulus, you can get money in your wallet right at the time of this recording. Let's go to the first one right behind that, because I'm going to get to third stimulus in just a second. It's CR for Stimulus 1.0. CR for Stimulus 1.0. $1.5 trillion in discretionary funds have been put into continuing resolution of early March. The deadline is staying in place at the moment. The funds are there and staying there. Patrick Leahy battled off of a fury of people trying to grab some of the funds from the White House to the restaurant union. So the funds are staying in there, and the discretion is at the hands of Joe Biden's cabinet members like Janet Yellen. So it looks all good, doesn't it? Any concern? I just got to be cautious here, folks. I don't want someone to grab the money and build a park or build a, lobster fest. So what do we got to do? We got to advocate like we've never advocated before, because this is what we do. We're Purple Power. We advocate. We speak up. We don't sit around and just put our hand out and collect a check. So what do you want to do? You got to pick up the phone and really hit those phone calls now. The messaging should be the same, very fluid and simple. You have a continuing resolution. It's early March. You have $1.5 trillion of discretionary spending in there. Give me a $2,000 check. Simple. $1.5 trillion of discretionary funding. Continuing resolution, early March. Put a $2,000 stimulus check in there. Very simple. Now, if you want to take it up a notch, you certainly can. Professionally, what you would say is, well, I've had your back on Build Back Better Act for 11 months. You haven't got it done. And I'm in need of relief. Inflation is ravaging. Democrats and Republicans both understand they have to do something to help us. So insert a check in there. You've done this before. You did it in 2020, December 2020, when we were in the heat of COVID. You wanted to win 2 Georgia Senate seats. Everyone, Republicans and Democrats, wanted to win those Georgia Senate seats. So you put a check in there to save the situation. Put a check in there right now. So pick up the phone and advocate. Continue your Facebook, social media, Twitter, Instagram campaigns as well. Hashtag CR for stimulus. But also pick up the phone and advocate and tell them put a check in there. And make those phone calls to those legislators right now. The latest details on CR for Stimulus 2 and 3.0 is it does not have a quick turnaround time like 1.0 because it's 2 pieces of legislation merging. So this is the House economic pieces of legislation passed, merging with the Senate version. Republicans, Democrats merging it. Good, good, good. The inherent deadline is not right in front of me, 1 day out, 3 days out. So we're keeping it in the mix of our opportunities that are there. The idea is that they both understand that inflation is out of control and they want to solve it by passing pieces of economic legislation. One passed in the House with the Democrats, the Senate has their version. But the next item that is really right behind this that can be done 30 days after this recording is SS 300. SS 300 is the concept that morphs original concept of Elizabeth Warren and Joseph Biden of SS 200 and grows it to SS 300. What is it? The ability to give you 30 days out from now, $200 a month on top of your existing benefits if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, and more. An additional $100 in December that will bring you then to SS 300 and then a little bit more thereafter. And this, my friends, is lifetime. What's at issue and what is we going to do right now about it? First, we're going to go over how much this money is. Then I'm going to go over the breaking news. Then I'm going to go over what Joe Biden can do for this. And then I'm going to go where we're going with it as well. All right, the breaking news and the details of it are very simple. Where we are right now is that you need the money. And it hasn't been delivered, but it can be done so simply, and it only needs a phone call. What are we doing? We're replacing COLA with inflation. COLA is a benchmark that determines how much your benefits go up year after year. All you have to do is replace with inflation. A brilliant idea, not my idea. Whose idea? Joe Biden. He just has to make the phone call. He promised to do it. Let's take it back to January 2020 so we understand where this came from. In January 2020, we had a presidential campaign underway and a lot of candidates in the field. One of the candidates was from the state of Massachusetts, Elizabeth Warren. Here she is. And she said, you need more benefits. I'll give you $200 more per benefits, but only for 6 to 12 months. And remove the asset cap, income cap, marriage penalty. She ultimately withdrew from run for president, but Joe Biden liked the policy so much he adopted it as one of his own during the campaign for president himself. He said, I'm going to give you $200 more per month. You need it. You're a senior. You're on a person on disability. You need it. He didn't just say it during the campaign, folks. He said it after he got elected. He wrote it on his transition papers at joebiden.com. They're still there. You can go read it today. $200 a month. And he said you need it urgently. That was November 2020. No inflation then. Now we got massive inflation. Well, Democrats from his party noticed what you and I noticed. He came in office and didn't do it. And we saw Democrats working on this as fistimals throughout last year to get it out across the land. Well, 3 weeks ago I said, it's like CR for stimulus, just another version. Not getting done, sort of sitting there. This is an easy thing. This is not rocket science. And I made the recording. And now tonight it's SS 300. What has to be done? A phone call. That's it. Yeah, just a phone call. All I'm asking is for Joe Biden to make a phone call, and this changes millions of people's lives overnight. He's done it before. He did it in fall 2021 when he understood that you need more snaps. So he called over to Department of Agriculture, said raise your benefits up, and you got up 25% more lifetime. It's simple phone call. It's not executive order. It's not an act of Congress. So what does he need to do with this one? He just needs to pick up the phone and contact the Social Security Administrator, say raise your benefits up to switch your benchmark from COLA to inflation. Why does this work? Inflation is a higher number. COLA doesn't work. Year after year, COLA doesn't move. And this is what Liz Warren promised, Joe Biden promised, fifth stimulus was going to do. And all last year, everyone that I saw from Wall Street to the Federal Reserve had the inflation number wrong. They had it wrong last month. They had it wrong the month before. And I was the only one that kept on telling them, you're undervaluing inflation. Had they done the swap then, you would be perfect. Had they done the swap tonight, you'd still be perfect. If they do the swap 30 days from now, you're still fine. But if we wait out 6 months, as I'm telling you for the first time tonight on Evenings LA, you don't want them to wait on this because it won't be as good later on. Let's go over what's happening. Here's Jay Powell, head of the Federal Reserve. He is head of our central bank in the United States. He told us last year that inflation in December 2021 was going to be 1% to 2% and temporary or transitory, fancy word. I said, I don't buy it, Jay. I don't think you're right. Wall Street said it was going to be 2 to 3%, temporary, transitory. I said, I don't buy it. I don't think you're right either. I said that inflation was going to be 8% in December 2021, and that it was not going to be temporary. It was going to stay at 8%. Who determines inflation? Department of Labor. The number comes out 30 days after it was released. So when was it released? It was released in January for December. What did it say? In January, we learned it was 7.5%. Bingo. Told you. You undervalued inflation, Fed, and Wall Street. In the month of January, I taught the viewership of this channel, you, how to determine what inflation was in January without the need of me. How can you determine inflation without the need of a financial broadcaster? Simple. Buying some eggs. Buying some eggs. Buying some bread. You go to the market, you buy the same pack of eggs every week, same brand, same market, same quantity, and suddenly it's 10 cents more. And you take note of it. The week after that, it's 15 cents more. You take note of it. That's inflation. You calculate it out. It went up 10%. That's inflation before I even tell it to you. That's where inflation shows up first. Well, in January, I said that inflation is not going to go down. I said it's going to stay at about 8%, and it's going to stay there for a while, for several months. The breaking news tonight, folks, is that while we're just a few days away from the inflation number for January 2022 to be released in February, the inflation gauge numbers, which are numbers in between the release of the big inflation number, are all tracking that inflation has not gone down. And one of Jay Powell's colleagues, who is another Fed governor, not a chair, came and said, inflation is not going down just yet. That means that if Joe Biden swaps out COLA for inflation tonight, you'd get that additional $200 a month starting right now for SS200. Federal Reserve Governor Christopher Waller said in a conference in Santa Barbara just days ago that I expect inflation now to still remain elevated, high, and will only show modest signs of deceleration going down over the next few months thereafter. Translation, it's staying high. It's not going down yet. So we also have the day before his comments that the number that the Federal Reserve uses as its inflationary gauge, not the real inflation, but the gauge of where the inflation number may be a few weeks thereafter, coming in at a nose-bleeding number. The highest number since 1983, folks. It showed food and energy prices, as you expect, went up 6.1%, the highest growth since 1982. The week before that, we had the PPE number coming in at 10%, horrible number. And then we have inflation, cities and counties from Texas to Florida, California, tracking 12% locally. So you know that inflation is out of control. This is what Joe Biden needs to do. Swap out COLA for inflation right today. You don't swap it out after inflation goes down. You swap it out when inflation's high. So you get more benefits out of it. Hello, this is obvious. Now, What's important for you to understand a part of this equation is that if he does this phone call, I mean, he just picks up the phone, for goodness sakes. Pick up the phone, Joe, and call the Social Security Administrator. You put the guy or gal in there, you fire Commissioner Saul, pick up the phone and say, hey, it's the president. Swap COLA for inflation. Millions of Americans struggling. They don't have enough money. You have the authority. I'm not giving you executive order. I'm just encouraging you to do it. Swap it out for inflation, and that will give millions of Americans an additional lift of benefits 30 days out. Do it right now. And that we're seeing inflation probably tracking at 4% later this year. You're going to get them an extra probably $90, $100 later this year. That'll be SS 300. And I will fulfill my campaign promise. I don't even have to reform Social Security right now. This is a simple phone call. Done. This is where he needs to act now. Now, why does he need to really act right now? One, you need the money. Two, inflation's tracking really high. And the Federal Reserve is about to act in a few days to bring down inflation. Oh, yeah. Federal Reserve is not acting against you, folks, but the Federal Reserve is about to do some stuff that would not give you as much benefits from SS 300 if you wait too long. This guy is the head of Federal Reserve, United States, and his name is Jay Powell. And there are going to be a series of 5 meetings. You're going to learn this and 2 other items on this channel that you've never learned before, because this is how you propel yourself financially on this channel, with information and getting cash. These meetings are called the FOMC meetings. There's 5 meetings over the next 5 months. The analysts believe that in 5 meetings, there'll be 5 interest rate spikes. That's the norm, the average of what the estimates are. The reason for these interest rate spikes, when they raise the interest rates, your debt costs more to pay for, is to bring down inflation. So obviously, you're not going to wait to have Joe Biden change SS 300 after inflation comes down. You want to do it right now. Now, here's the issue. 5 meetings, 5 interest rate spikes, quarter basis points. No, some analysts think it may be 7 spikes. And the first meeting in just a few days from now may be a half basis points. That's why Joe Biden needs to act right now and do that SS 300. Now, he did do some great stuff in the latest breaking details tonight, and this is huge. And it started with the situation in Ukraine and Russia. It concerns your gasoline. This is one of those other numbers I'm teaching you on this channel that you need to know, because guess what? It's ridiculous. I'm going to be very frank to you. It's ridiculous for anyone to say, what day am I getting a stimulus check? If the price of gasoline is $55 at the pump, then your stimulus check means nothing. If the price of gasoline is going to take it all away. I mean, you can't even drive to get the stimulus check because the gasoline is so expensive. So I have to cover gasoline. I also have to cover gasoline for another reason. And I don't want to scare you, but I got to tell you the truth of the situation. Gasoline is one of the scariest economic forces at play. If gasoline prices get out of control in just the United States, this is what happens. Massive unemployment, potential recession, stagflation, the economy shrinking, people out of employment, and a very, very bad economic situation, much worse than COVID. So you can't let gasoline get out of control in the United States. Also, you can't let gasoline get out of control in countries we do business with, like England and France and Germany. So why is this a big concern, and what number do you need to know? You need to know the number of where Brent crude is trending, the Brent crude number for price per barrel, because if it's out of control, there's a big problem happening around the horizon. I don't just mean how much you pay for gasoline at the pump. I also mean your job. I also mean your benefits. I mean everything, because this is something that has to be brought under control. And it's only done by leaders of governments, not really Congress. Let me make that very clear. So Joe Biden has done really some great stuff with this in the last 3 days. Number one, he understood that the day before Russia invaded Ukraine, the price of barrel was about, 100. It shot up to 105 the day of the invasion. Then he understood he needs to release some oil, and he did, bringing us down to 94. Good. Where are we hovering right now today? Yesterday, we were about 100. Now we're at 101. We went up a little bit again. It's 100, 101. That is a fine. Can we sustain that number? What does these numbers mean to us, LA? We, as an economy in the United States, can sustain $100 a barrel for 6 months if inflation does not get worse. You already saw on this recording, inflation is not getting higher. It's going to stay where it is or go lower. So we can sustain $100 a barrel. The question is whether we can keep it at $100 a barrel. If we go to 125, we can't. If we go to 135, we can't. And that is just here in the United States. So why would the price go out of control? Because of Russia and Ukraine. The way that gasoline works is when there's less of it, the price goes up. You're looking at the beautiful capital of Ukraine, not live footage, but stock footage of its beautiful capital, Kiev. And the issue at hand is that with Russian oil now out of circulation, the price of gasoline is trending higher and could continue to trend higher. And that is a problem in the United States. So what is Joe Biden doing for this that's working so far, but needs to do a little bit more? What he's doing is first getting part of our strategic reserves of stockpiled oil released to keep the price down and stable at 100, 105.94. Good. First move done. Good. Second, breaking news tonight is that he has gotten our Western ally countries to release their oil to their citizens as well. Why is this important? We're in the United States. We're not next door to Russia. Other countries are overseas. They're close to Russia. They get oil from Russia more than we get oil from Russia. Russia is out of the equation for them. They're in big trouble. So he got those countries to release some more of their gasoline from their stockpile in the strategic reserves. And this is great news for us tonight, because if those countries go under, we're in big trouble. They're our allies. I'm referring to France and England and South Korea and UK. So China, India, Japan, South Korea, and the UK have now released more barrels. We're actively working with these countries around the world to evaluate the collective release from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve of major energy-producing countries. And the United States will release additional barrels of oil as conditions warrant, says Joe Biden in the latest comment. He's also trying to negotiate a deal with Iran, a nuclear deal, but that's not, 10 days away or 4 days away. If that nuclear deal is done, millions of barrels will be released into our pipeline, bringing the price down. Now, that is that good news across the land. But I got better news for you. Thousands of dollars for you. Third stimulus. Why would you wait around and try to track a check when you can cash a check? And right now, I'm going to show you how viewers have listened and learned and gotten thousands of dollars this week. People saying, is there money going out? Yeah. My viewers got tens of thousands of dollars this week. Did you get any money from this channel? Did you get any money this week? Have you been watching the videos? You haven't? Well, welcome to this channel, and I'm going to show you right now how to get that money. We're talking about third stimulus. And third stimulus is still paying out, and you get it everywhere. City, county, state, across the country, and boy, it's incredible. Third stimulus. What is it? Third stimulus became a law in 2021, and it was predicted on this channel months earlier when I was getting people money from it before it became even law. Tonight, viewers are getting big sums of money from it as well, and I'll show you how to get it as well. What's at issue? Let's go over what third stimulus is. Third stimulus is rent, utilities, mortgages, and more, and it was in circulation somewhat before third stimulus ever was around. In December 2020, my focus on this channel, then and now, was getting you cash. This is cash. Who cares what it's called? It's cash. And I said, let me get you this money. And I trained viewers how to get the money. And I said, you know what? I'm training you because when third stimulus becomes law, there'll be a lot more of this, and you'll know how to get it. Well, it became law. Third stimulus became law in January 2021. Viewership of this channel was told by me, I think I can get you on average $15,000 of this money when third stimulus became law. Viewers outdid it. They on average got $45,000 from third stimulus. Elsewhere, people just look for a stimulus check of $1,400. My viewers are cashing $45,000 checks. Very big difference across the land. Now, I also stayed on point because I said, hey, there's a lot of this money. There was so much of it, it wasn't even released initially by Janet Yellen. She released it in time. And by last summer, viewers got a second round. Then they got a third round, at least, by last December. What's a round? Going back and asking for more months. The average round is 3 to 5 months. And we're just talking about the rent, 3 to 5 months of utilities. So That is what viewers were doing then, but I didn't lose message because I said, get another round starting this January, February, March. So where do you get the money? How do you get the money? Let's pull out our notes. Let's pull our membership newsletter, and let's go over the big sums of money. But first, I want to go over 2 success stories, brand new tonight on evenings. These are viewers who have listened. Charles Garman says, I got another $1,000 today for energy assistance. Congratulations. And Karen Phillips says, I lost all my jobs. I didn't know what I was going to do to pay utilities or rent, but I contacted organizations in my area who help with rent and utilities. I got 3 months of rent and 3 months of utilities. Wow, I love it. Tells us exactly what she got. 3 months of utilities, 3 months of rent. Remember, 3 to 5 is the range. She's hitting it. So how do you get it? Follow along. Here we go. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city house authority, your county hall, your county house authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. There are 3 musts you must do. You must reach out to all 6 places. You must get multiple applications on file, and you must do multiple rounds. Rely on that membership newsletter. It comes out Monday through Friday. Have you become a member? The link's under the video. That's how people are cleaning up and getting these big sums of money from the membership newsletter. And rely upon the nonprofits. The nonprofits featured in the newsletter pick up the money for these other items in there across the land. So get those big sums of money when the county or city may have some issues for you across the board. Now, that was just 2 viewers yesterday. I have one viewer sent me a message just minutes ago. I'll feature it tomorrow on Mornings Live on air at 9 a.m. But here was the day before. Bob Bacon, you recognize him from the shorts. He got 3 more months of rent. There you go. Congratulations, Bob. 3 more months. And then we have Brian Donahue. I like his comment. Listen to the wording, he says. Hey, Paperbox, I just got a 2nd round of rent 5 months. Whoa, that's a big sentence. 2nd round, 5 months. Whoa. So that means he's, maybe blanketing an entire year. 2nd round means he's gotten this before, and he got another 5 more months. Now, viewers have listened and learned because they're cleaning up. Nisi is one of the longtime viewers of this channel. She got $30,000 to $40,000 from this last year. She heard me just a few weeks ago. She went and got more of it. $10,000 again. $7,000 for rent, $3,000 for utilities. Karen Joseph got $30,000, $40,000 this week. She got $23,000 for rent, and they got some utilities. Checks going out? Yeah. 3rd stimulus. Viewers are getting these checks right now. So to recap, the money that's available for you right now is 1st, 3rd stimulus. You can get this today, even before CR for Stimulus 1.0. Checks going out? Yeah. My viewers are cashing big checks and are cashing it on a daily basis because they listen and they learn. The average viewer of this channel is cleaning up from 3rd stimulus and still doing it to this day. It's available everywhere. City, county, and state. Become a member. The average payout that viewers are getting are $45,000 from 3rd stimulus. Do it today. Don't wait around and get those big sums of money. Now, that is 3rd stimulus. The next item that, of course, would be up on board would be CR for Stimulus, just a few days away. And then you're going to hear about Build Back Better Act during the President's State of the Union address. What I need you to understand is that, and I think you're sophisticated enough. I know my viewers very well. You love information. You love to learn. You love to be financially sophisticated. So bringing things like Brent Crude number on this channel or FOMC meetings, you love it. The more you can learn, the better you are financially. You have learned that when we talk about a presidential State of the Union address, they ain't going to be a check the next day. And certain things require certain timeframes at issue. But when we talk about that CR for Stimulus 1.0, that is the nearest time horizon. And you also understand that grabbing checks, whatever they are, is the difference for you across the board. You also understand that in the universe of broadcasting news, there's financial news. You're watching the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America right now, LALATE. If you watch a non-financial news channel, they're going to not cover broad Build Back Better Act for Stimulus Recon. And you may say, hey, how come I didn't see it on TV? I guess it's dead. No, they're covering the hurricane or the tornado or the invasion by Russia. So just because they're not covering doesn't mean it's not an issue. The night that Joe Biden mentions Build Back Better Act during the State of the Union address, I expect, people just show up on the channel and say, oh, he mentioned it. I guess it's back on. It's never been off. It's always been on. The president has a foreign agenda to do and a domestic agenda. Your money. So don't think that just because you don't see it on broadcast media, it's not happening. Now let's go into those incredible checks. They're in Build Back Better Act, because you know how we rock and roll. You want to get every check that is available as a Purple Hawk, because first come, first serve. They got in there, the MSC, they vowed to add in there. And of course, they got in there already the checks for hazard pay, earned income tax credit, essential workers checks, then the Medicaid gap fix checks, which provides a workaround plan for 12 Republican states that vowed never to provide insurance to low-income uninsured people. They got in there also the checks for the seniors, dental, vision, and hearing aid checks. And what else did they get in there? They got in there the Pell Grant, the tuition checks, the nutrition checks, and then also checks for the farmers, independent contractors, and more. There's a lot of checks, upwards of $50,000, $60,000 across the land. Meantime, I wanted to leave some commentary for tonight that it's also financial news that you need to know. Tonight, the situation financially in Russia is crumbling. It's crumbling because of a word that sometimes we say and we think it doesn't mean much of anything, but it means a lot. It's called sanctions. Sanctions, when we hear the word, it sometimes just sort of sounds like it's sort of a blunt dagger. It doesn't really do anything. Folks, this is not the 1920s. The way world economies are merged is electronically. And if you cut off a world economy, you implode it. And at the time of tonight's recording, I can't tell you how much Russia's economy is imploding, but we started the day on Mornings LA live on air, and Russia was the number 10 largest economy in the globe. I think by the end of that recording, it was heading to number 11. I think by the time of tonight's recording, it'll be heading to 12. Most analysts believe that by the middle of the week, Russia will be the number 15th largest economy, and by the end of the week, it may be the 20th largest economy. Falling that quickly, like a free fall? Yes. Why? Its central bank is being cut off by the rest of the world. Banks are linked electronically. And this is not like the 1920s or the 1960s, even the 1970s. If you cut out the entire operation to communicate between banks, the bank can't function. The Central Bank of Russia runs Russian businesses, runs the Russian government, runs the Russian oligarchs. And the banks cannot communicate, cannot transfer funds, cannot receive funds. It cannot operate. The Russian bank has remained closed sporadically because it couldn't even clear the accounts, and its currency fell 30% in just a few hours. It's that severe that these sanctions are working. No one in the history of monetary policy has ever seen a united front of countries going after one country to destroy its central bank. Destroying a central bank is a very effective means to destroying a tyranny of a tyrant. And it's working tonight. Now, with that, I want to insert a little bit of commentary, but I also want to give you updates on where we are right now. First, this attempt to really take offline the Russian central bank is working tonight, but should have been done a long time ago. I was very critical initially on this subject matter when SWIFT, which is the way in which you receive funds internationally, direct deposit or sending them back, you transfer funds electronically in or out of Russia, it was proposed by the United States and other countries to delist Russia, and certain countries like Italy were holding out. I was very unhappy with Italy and certain countries until Germany really took the lead, thank goodness, and got all the countries of the Western Alliance to agree to kick Russia out of SWIFT. So the breaking news tonight is that the United States, France, Canada, and Great Britain and the European Commission have cut Russia out of the use of SWIFT. The countries have stressed the willingness to take further measures should Russia not end its attack in Ukraine and thus on the European peace offer. Now, this is a very complicated situation I want to explain to you as easy as I can. There are U.S.-based firms that are perfectly fine U.S.-based firms that have Russian investments. They're closing out their accounts in Russia. They own major stakes in Russian businesses, and they're getting out. So they have to get their cash out of Russia. They're good companies, good U.S. companies. So there is not a complete closure of SWIFT because they're letting us get out. So when Boris Johnson talks about complete closure of SWIFT, he should be doing better and using clearer words because it's an incorrect word. If you heard it, he's the Prime Minister of England. It just confused a lot of people when he talked about it. Second, the Russian oligarchs. I'm not going to name names for obvious reasons on this channel, but this is a really crazy subject that shouldn't have even have to go one day long. If you sit in the United States and you see that people lose professional teams because, they sent out a bad tweet one day and suddenly have a $1 trillion team ripped out of their hands because they sent out a bad tweet. But we have Russian oligarchs among ourselves and they're sitting around and they're just flaunting the situation. The pressure on going after Russian oligarchs is very big tonight. What are Russian oligarchs? They are people who are billionaires who ran businesses for Vladimir Putin, and he took a stake in the company, and they profited as a team. And they came to the United States, they bought properties in Florida and California, Los Angeles, and they're amongst ourselves. Tonight, they're moving their yachts to hidden places in our seas out on the water because the governments of the United States and England are now going after to try to seize their assets. Why has it taken this long? This is ridiculous. This is again where I think the things are starting to look ridiculous. Do this day one. You already know who they are. I can tell you their address. I'm not joking. You can Google it. There's a picture of their houses on the internet. Come on already. Just go over there and say, hey, I'm taking you. Get out of here. It's not so difficult. Now, here's another subject matter that I really want to address. And I'm not happy about it. And I'm not going to hold back on it either. When I broadcast on this channel, I'm the voice of positivity sometimes, and sometimes so much positivity, people say, you're too positive. Well, tonight I'm not positive about one thing. What the world are we doing on the Poland side and not helping people? We should have our armed servicemen who are already in Poland and our station reservists, who perhaps are not deployed yet, in Poland, helping refugees. We have armed service people who are paid, who are in safe NATO territories, doing nothing to help you, people who are fleeing the country of Ukraine. At the time of tonight's recording, which is currently just a little bit after 3 p.m., it's about 500,000 refugees from Ukraine that have flooded into Poland. It was 250 this morning. Are we doing anything with our NATO alliance, with our armed services in peaceful Poland to help peaceful refugees get food, blankets, transportation? We're doing nothing. This is disgusting. I am not happy with this. This is a no-brainer. You know what? We have often talked about stuff on this channel where we say Congress doesn't care, Congress doesn't care. And I say they do care. They're trying to get your money. Okay. Have we heard any of these congressmen even talk about this subject matter? Where are they? Where are the congressmen? Where are the cabinet members? Where are the executive branch? Where is the legislative branch? Where are the military service persons, the generals? This is a no-brainer. Women fleeing, pregnant, giving birth in train stations in Poland are being greeted by wonderful, wonderful Polish authorities and helping them get to a safe place. But where are we? We're sitting in a tank somewhere in the outskirts of Poland waiting to see if Vladimir Putin comes into Russia. Hello, we can do a little bit more than that. This is disgraceful. We should be ashamed as a country of our own that is built upon immigrants, that is 500,000 refugees at the time of this recording. It'll probably be 1 million by tomorrow. There's 3 million people in the capital of Ukraine. Just the capital of Ukraine, 3 million. When they get on the train coming over, are we there? No. If you saw the images on broadcast media tonight, there's a train station, the first one over the border. You can see the sort of how large the studio is. They have a room the size of my studio here that has some extra stuff on a table to help them, provided by the wonderful Polish authority. Do we bring our armed servicemen to build some tents and get some food and some clothing and some things for the babies? We're doing nothing. What is this? I mean, come on already. This is not rocket science. This is a safe place. This is Poland. You're not in arms. You're not in any threat to anyone. And these are people who need assistance. Now, I'm not alone in this sentiment. Boris Johnson, who's the British version of Joe Biden, he's the Prime Minister of England, has been sent to Hungary because people don't think that he's even letting the hungry people into his country. Us, we're not even doing doo-doo. We're not even doing simple things for people that are in times of need, women and children that are fleeing ravages of a war that they did not create, and we're doing nothing, and neither is NATO. Is all that NATO does is protect when someone goes after that state? So when the towns of Ukraine are now surrounded tonight, and the situation could get more tense in the next 48 hours, as many believe, as Vladimir Putin deploys more tanks and military, 50,000 around those other cities, more people are going to flee, and they're going to seek assistance. What is she doing? What is he doing? What is she doing? What is he doing? What are we doing as a country for these situations? We talked about CR for Stimulus 4.0, which is the Russian sanctions bill. Never got done. I mean, that's a joke, the fact that it was never done. How about the Ukraine aid? We don't even need a Ukraine aid bill. We just get our guys that are and women and active service members that are already there to build some tents and get them some food and some cash cards. I mean, this is just ridiculous. There was a viewer in one of the chats, I think it was the crypto show, the metaverse show overnight. It was Afternoon Delight. It had not yet aired. It was a 3:00 edition today, and had not aired. And he got in the live chat before it aired, and he wrote a comment. And I had to think for a second. He said, the comment was car or house. I chose car, obviously. And I thought to myself, oh, that's exactly what it means. We often talk about Congress not caring or government not caring. And sometimes, we can say, hey, they got us rent, they got us utilities, they got us certain things. And then other times we can say they're working on an MHB mansion, that's that issue. But when we do something so simple at issue, so simple that needs to be addressed, which is people fleeing a ravaged war town environment, and we're not there with a blanket for them? Come on already. We have to do something more, Purple Power. If you have a suggestion how we should address this, send me a private message on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. It's rare times like this that I'd like to say a lot more, but I got to keep it in track. Because if you knew me personally, I can have a tough mouth and I could say it a lot more vigorously with a lot stronger words than I would say on air tonight. Joe Biden, you need to do certain things. You need to do that SS-300 right away. You need to release part of those strategic petroleum reserves, more of it. You need to get those NATO countries to do more than just protect themselves. You need to get ammunition to the Ukrainian people so that they are protected. We are doing too little and just doing a little bit too much for ourselves. This country, this channel, and this community is not about just helping ourselves. It's about helping one another. And I appreciate you staying with me tonight for that commentary. Coming up next is Evening's Countdown at 6 o'clock. Then our special edition of Stream Stimulus, which you know now at 7 o'clock is called also I Stand You for Ukraine. And then Evening's Extra at 8 o'clock. Stay informed, stay focused, keep it positive. If you have other suggestions of subjects that are coming out of Ukraine that I have missed, because there's a lot of them, including the Nigerian refugees that are having trouble getting out of the country, and the issue about babies and families having problems at the border, send me a private message on social media. I will feature it on air. Stay informed, stay focused. Keep your prayers with Ukraine. Keep your prayers with this family, and stay with LA for more as Evening's LA continues.